at 7 PM. Roll call.
Collins,
Present.
Campbell,
Present.
Dockery,
Present.
Yossi,
Present.
Adrian Tex, he'll be on his way. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
Move. Second.
Motion by Dockery, second by Campbell to approve the agenda. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Public comment. Is there anybody in the public wishes to address the council this evening? Okay. 5A, consideration to approve the city council minutes from the August 5th city council meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Yossi, second by Collins to approve the minutes from the regular council meeting on August 5th, 2024. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. 5B, consideration to approve the committee of whole minutes from the August 5th, 2024 meeting.
So moved.
Here's a second.
Second.
Motion by Campbell, second by Dockery to approve the committee of whole minutes from the August 5th city council 2024. All in favor say aye. Nay? Ayes have it. 5C, consideration to approve the bills payable. Do you have any comments, Brian?
I'm almost all the way through them, but no, I don't have any comments yet.
Okay. Scott, do you,
No, my questions were answered today.
Ryan?
None.
Dan?
sir.
Okay. Well, unless Brian sees some, do I hear a motion to approve bills payable?
So
moved.
Second.
Motion by Dockery, second by Campbell. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nay? Ayes
Guys,
have
we
it.
got microphones.
Yeah.
I'm afraid Marty can't hear us. So
Yeah.
I appreciate it. You really do.
6A, consideration the third and final reading of ordinance 2024-10, amending Title B of the Eldridge City Code, adding Chapter 14, social host. Jeff, can I call on you for this?
Thank you, Mayor. We haven't received any comments at City Hall. Tony, has the police department received any comments on that? Police department has also not received any comments on that.
Thank you, gentlemen.
I make a motion to approve third and final reading ordinance 2024-10 as presented.
Second.
Motion by Dockery, second by Campbell to approve third and final reading of ordinance 2024-10. Roll call.
Campbell.
Aye.
Collins,
Aye.
Dockery,
Aye.
Yossi,
Aye.
Final reading passes. 6B, consideration the third and final reading of ordinance 2024-11, amending Title A, Chapter 2 of the Eldridge Code, adding Section 3.02F, repeat offender. Jeff, can I call on you again, please?
Yes, Your Honor, we have not received any comments on that ordinance.
Do I hear a motion for the third and final reading?
Make a motion for the third and final reading of ordinance 2024-11 as presented.
Second.
Motion by Dockery, second by Collins to approve the third and final reading of ordinance 2024-11. Roll call.
Yossi,
Aye.
Dockery,
Aye.
Collins,
Aye.
Campbell,
Aye.
Blackwell,
All right.
Third and final reading of ordinance 2024-11 passes. 6C, consideration of second reading of ordinance 2024-12 rezoning from light industrial to general industrial, and from suburban ag to general industrial, and from suburban ag to I2. Jeff, has anybody called on these?
No, Your Honor, we haven't received any comments on that.
Do I hear a motion for the second reading?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Yossi, second by Dockery to approve the second reading of ordinance 2024-12 rezoning parcels. Roll call.
Dockery,
Aye.
Yossi,
Aye.
Collins,
Aye.
Campbell,
Aye.
Blackwell,
6D, consideration to approve resolution 2024-22, discontinuing the Eldridge Business Directional Sign Program. Jeff, can I call on you again, please?
Yeah, we spoke about this at length at the last committee of the whole meeting, so this is just a resolution of putting an end to the unofficial program of city directional signs.
Do I hear a motion?
Rivera.
Okay, good for a second. Motion by Blackwell, second by Collins to approve resolution 2024-22, discontinuing the Eldridge business sign. Roll call.
Campbell,
Aye.
Collins,
Aye.
Gilsey,
Aye.
Dockery,
Aye.
Blackwell,
Resolution 2024-22 passes. 6C, discussion, consideration to approve a proposal from Shive Hattery Engineering Services for the South First Street Overlay Project. Ben, I'll call on you for this.
So this is the proposal that was brought forward at the last city council meeting, and it was asked to be brought forward again. It's a proposal that Shive Hattery put together for us to do an overlay project on about 2.2 miles of South First Street. Zach, do you have any details or anything about this project or this proposal that you want to provide?
So, yeah, we kind of talked about it last meeting, but yeah, it's for 2.2 miles. It's from, the school to the south city limits. And just in conversations with Public Works and city staff, this is the one they identified as kind of their top priority project. So that's why we were asked to bring this proposal forward for this. And really the goal doing it now was that so we could get it out to bid in the winter time. Just to get the best pricing we can, because the ideal construction project getting them out in kind of that December to February timeframe usually gives you your best odds of favorable pricing. Contractors are starting to look for work for the following construction season. So that's kind of why we brought it. Why it was requested to bring it forward now, so that it could be ready to go bid towards the end of the year. So.
Go ahead, Scott.
I was one of the councilmen that asked that this be brought forward again. I feel like our discussion last meeting got a little sidetracked. And in hindsight, I don't think it never should have not passed for lack of a second. And I regret that personally. After the meeting, I went back and watched the committee of the whole meeting from July 1st, and we discussed this very project in depth. And Nevada gave a very good explanation how this would work parallel with anything done on Lincoln Road. So we had a lot of questions answered, at that July 1st meeting. Then we did not meet on July 15th because of the storm. And it's back on our agenda in August. And so, in my opinion, it probably should have been a slam dunk. It was Zach's recommendation to do this. It was also the recommendation of our city staff, including Public Works. And they put this together, to make this happen. And just for the record, I've apologized to Zach privately. And I'll do it publicly tonight. Because I think that if we said anything that disrespected you, I will apologize for that, because I think you were treated a little bit unfairly at that meeting. And the same way with city staff. I respect Zach's opinion. We pay him good money to do that. I respect Jeff, Nevada, Tony, and Brian, and they were all on board with this. And I'll give Adrian credit for making the motion, and shame on me for not seconding it, because I think there could have been more discussion last meeting. This is a slam dunk in my opinion, because that project has been talked about. It's been on our CIP list, and we spent way too much time talking about it. So that's my 2 cents worth.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Thanks, Scott. Yeah, I will tell you that I was a little bit confused, and I was misunderstanding the purpose of what you presented. And honestly, what I thought is you're putting that out there to do another study, not the actual project. So once I was able to pull back and read through it all, and then I also went back and rewatched some meetings, I definitely think it's something that I want to move forward with. I understand it better now. And again, I'll, kind of repeat what you said, Scott. I think we have to depend on the people that we put in place to bring forward these projects. And it doesn't mean we can't ask questions. And I don't have a problem if we table something until the next meeting, but at the end of the day, I drove up and down First Street again today, just consciously looking at everything, I think 6 times. And we need this. And I really don't think we can go much more than a year and a half without getting that work done. And we owe it to the citizens that are paying taxes to see a larger scale project like that come through for us.
Thanks, Ryan.
I also went up and down South First on Sunday a couple times in the car, and there is a need there. And I think all of us were kind of misunderstood. Either we didn't remember from the first July meeting and then misunderstood what was coming at us. So it's a good project to do. We're working on the east-west right now. Let's work on the north-south, and then, you know, our citizens can get in and out of town when they need to.
I'll have a little different opinion. I don't disagree that South First Street at some point is gonna need some attention. My question is, you know, back then and I understood it that we were doing that project. I understand now this is just a quote or bid to put it together in case we do it. I also have concerns of how will, if we do get Lincoln Road approved, how will this affect that intersection? Are we gonna tear out something that's brand new? I drive up and down it almost every day. There's some places that need attention. You know, is it to the point where we patch the bad areas right now and get a couple more years out of it till we determine the Lincoln Road intersection? We have some other priorities in the town that need to be addressed. The intersection right out here where you turn into here, 2 semis can't pass that. You know, I stated that last time. But because it's on the CIP was when that was created, that was the train of thought at that time. That's a working document. It changes yearly. But I would like to see an estimate also on the areas that should be patched, quantify the volume of the patches and the cost compared to totally redoing it. Similar to what we did on LeClaire Road. We were told that unless we place it in concrete, it's not gonna last. We came up with a way and etched it in the asphalt in 5 or 7 years, still working fine. I just think it's not a slam dunk guarantee that South First Street's gonna be done next year.
Adrian, do you have any comment on letter E?
I think it's obviously there's a change on the matter. I presented a motion last time that we were here at our last council meeting. Previous work on the Public Works Committee to this road has been looked at a few years back to long-term range and plans, and even brought before the event with the community advice a few years back within that First Street, what we need to do with First Street. So I'm driving in every day. I know how bad of a shape it is in. Doc Ray mentioned, you know, where Brian Lincoln, money, what that looked like. I think with anything, as we move forward, we can work around that. Maybe cut off some funds for that strip of intersection there as we proceed. You know, right now that it'll take a while to get this put into place and to get it a possibility of some patching the city can do right now, but again, it's just patching. It's not the whole road, it's not the whole overlay that we actually need. So I'm glad that there is a consensus here around the other council members that we do need to proceed. Some different opinions as how it's funded or what it looks like, or maybe we should hold off more. But with me personally, with being on every day, we have the new, I believe it's the Innovation Building, the Scott School District. I believe that's what it's called, the Innovation Building, Innovation Center. Trades going down there. If we let this deteriorate anymore, I feel that those spots, especially there's a good spot right in front of that building, wear and tear. This winter, when the crews are out plowing, blades can't get below that surface, it's with the ice built up in there and just see. They could take just a little fragment of that or a child to go off the road. They're onto oncoming traffic, which you don't want. So I believe the sooner the better to address this, to get it fixed and get it fixed right is what we need to do as a city. That's what we owe to the citizens who elected us.
If you would make that motion again, like last time, Adrian, I'd gladly second it this time.
You can make, Councilman, I'll let you make the motion. So,
I will make the motion then that we approve this proposal from Shive, the engineering services for the South First Street project.
I second that motion.
Motion by Campbell, second by Blackwell, to approve the proposal from Shive Engineering for South First Street overlay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nay, the ayes have it.
Nay. I'll say it on the mic, nay.
Thank you, gentlemen. 6F. About South First Street for probably over 2 years and watching certain spots deteriorate. And I know it was on our long range plan of different roads. Other things had to come first that were more important, where there was some collapsing roads with sinkholes and whatnot underneath them. And after the last meeting, how that vote went on this proposal, I wasn't sure what the future for South First Street was. So in front of you guys is three photographs. There's actually probably 10 areas of concern on South First Street, but the 3 photographs you have in front of you are the worst ones. If you want to start with the one, this shows a kind of a teal straight line. That's over there in front of that white 2-story by the Denny Johnson's old softball field, where the 2-lane road transitions into 3. There's about 30 feet right there, maybe even 35 feet. This has about approximately 50 or more cold asphalt repatch spots in it that have let loose, been put back. It is sunken down. This winter, when the ice and snow melts and refreezes, that whole area there approximately will be nothing but a big icy spot. And I've seen people and myself, when you're coming in, that's about where you brake again to reduce your speed again for the school zone. So that's going to create an icy spot on top of being bumpy and lumpy right there. Then over at Spring Street, where those apartments and duplexes are, that's the next photograph that has the light blue strip. It has approximately the same problem that South First Street has, where it transitions, same thing. It's sunken down, multiple upon multiple repairs trying to do something with it. It's just no longer feasible to try to fix, except to replace that section. And then the last photograph you have is the intersection of Lincoln Road. And off to the, as you're looking at the left side of that parallelogram, and in the middle there, that spot's approximately as big as like a 6 or 8 person dining room tabletop. That the blacktop has the overlay has let go from the concrete. It's approximately about 1.5 inches, 2 inches thick. I've been asked by people since Lincoln Road has been on our meetings, have ever tried to push a baby stroller or pull a red radio flyer wagon with a kid in it across through there? I said, no, I haven't. They said, well, you can. And they said, when traffic comes in there, you can't transition the north side of that intersection because of the big lumpy bumpy spots. You have to wait for the cars to go to the east and then pull your wagon or stroller around those 2 bad spots. So I thought, not knowing what the future after our last meeting was going to be, I talked to Brian about this first to see with some asphalt companies, and then they would actually come back with what it would take to engineer to fix the bad spots. But the city also is blessed with good equipment, and they've been doing some fine blacktop repairs around town. Most recent one over by Centennial Park at the new concession stand conversion to a bathroom. You can't hardly tell where they did it. They did such a nice job. Tony talked to Mitch and Brian. They looked at it. They think with the equipment we have, it's possible. They've even marked on the road in green paint where the bad spots would be. If you guys would approve to do these, they would start with the first patch closest to the transition to make sure not tear the whole road up at the same time to find out that our equipment can't do it and they can't handle it, but they would go ahead and try to do that patch of the transition first. If that was successful, then they'd be willing to do the other two. So that's what I have in front of you here. Now, I believe Tony was gonna give us approximate information on what it would cost approximately. Now, the little thing that we don't know about was there was talk of, is the old cement road intact under that blacktop? Or was it pulverized and left in place and blacktop over? Because when they go to peel the bad blacktop out, they're not exactly sure if they just peel up 3 inches of bad blacktop, or if they might have to do a little rock work under the spot. That's unknown at this point.
At Lincoln Road, there is concrete below it. You
Right.
can visibly see that.
Right.
The other part would be questionable.
Right.
I think there's concrete underneath it because you can see the reflection cracking up through the asphalt. And the guys did a very similar thing down on South Fifth Street, Fifth and Oak. Not too far from the junior high. They tore up that asphalt and repaved and it turned out fine. I would use asphalt, not cold pitch.
You know, that was what I requested to use, the hot. Did they come up with a approximate number of it?
So I heard from Tony this afternoon, they estimated about 8 tons of hot mix asphalt, each patch needing, about 2 trailer loads. The largest, patch that they've done so far is the one by Centennial Park, which was 1 full trailer load. Tony did say that they would be willing to try one and see how it goes, not wanting to commit to all of them, just to see how that first patch would go, if it would lift easily when they try to tear it out. Looking at, I think about $72 to $80 a ton, it'd be just under $600 for materials.
Perfect.
I think that's for the 8 ton.
Yes.
I believe.
Yeah.
He did say the patch that where Lincoln Road meets is a little bit different, and so he's not exactly sure on that one. They would need to purchase and use some sort of an adhesive because of the way that the makeup of where that patch is located. So he can speak more to that. I can get some details out to you on that, but then the equipment that they have is not necessarily used for projects of this size, but Mitch did take a look at it and thought that they would be able to do one, and they were willing to try one.
They would just have to spray a tack coat down first, then put the asphalt.
Right, if I heard you correctly, for the 8 tons, it'd be a total of $600. Is that correct?
That'd be per patch.
Okay. Taking that 600 times 3 is for right now
Then plus that tack cracker Brian's talked about,
as well.
that's unknown.
Okay, then, so with what's been presented before us this evening, would it be possible, and if not due to cost or due to staffing concerns, would it be possible to look at Black Hawk Trail as well? That particular intersection, similar to what we have at Lincoln Road with the same particular diagram right here?
My original list included that, but due to the amount of traffic and truck traffic down there, and due to safety of the employees, they would refer that off to a professional blacktop company. So this was just something to save costs, to see if we could do it in-house. And they're still concerned about traffic and safety, and I said, if that was a concern, I don't want to do this. But they definitely ruled out because of truck traffic safety, they're blacktop traffic.
Good, that's understandable.
So do I hear a motion?
Your Honor.
Go ahead, Ron.
So I agree trying the smaller patches. I do have some concerns at the intersection. That larger patch, I think, is going to be a different animal. So if they did the first 2 patches and they just did not feel comfortable with that, I'd be comfortable getting some bids on that to get that taken care of. Because even if we did put First Street out for bid, we couldn't do it till next July anyway, next fiscal year, right?
The plan is to bid it this fall, and then we would give them a completion date, so it could be, it could start in the spring.
Yeah, like spring or summer dealing.
Okay, I still think it'd be worth entertaining if they weren't able to do that intersection, getting some pricing, because it's pretty bad, it's rough.
I agree, Ryan. I drove out there today too, and that intersection is bad, and it looks like it might be a challenge for our staff, especially if they're a little bit iffy on doing the first two even, so I agree with you on that.
Should we just get a quote from somebody like Taylor Ridge before our crew even starts it to see what it may be?
Yeah, and with the dollar amounts, I don't think we really would have to get involved. Department heads could just handle that, couldn't they? Getting the prices.
Well, they can get the prices, we'd have to approve it.
Sure.
Somebody like Taylor Ridge that does that every day around cities, you know, they might be able to come in and do them all in 1 day or 2 days.
If we were to look at the independent contractor, in this case, please include Black Hawk Trail to beats and joints, the first group.
Get you guys make your motion.
So I'll make a motion that we allow Public Works, if they feel comfortable, to do the smaller patches and have discussion on the large patch at Lincoln and South First Street. But I also ask that we get bids to do all of that work as well and see what numbers come back at.
You want to do your second and include Blackhawk Trail?
I second that motion. Councilman Yossi, but also including Black Hawk Trail, First Street.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays, the ayes have it. 6G, consideration of a traffic light at Fourth Avenue and Leclerc Road. This is something that's been on our books for a while, and it's been brought up a few times. Dan, I think I've called you, because you've been getting a lot of conversations about this.
Yes, Your Honor, I have had a lot of public come to me and ask me about the Fourth Avenue and Lincoln Road intersection. You know, you have to think about the schools, you have to think about the why. We have a ton of traffic that's coming into town right now. And then with the light, you know, getting darker earlier and, you know, daylight savings time, you're gonna have kids out on the streets longer when it's darker. So I feel not only for the doctor's office, but for all of the growth that we've had behind with Windmiller and such, I feel that this is a very worthy cause to do immediately and not wait till next year.
And we do have that programmed into already this fiscal year.
My thoughts are different, not surprisingly, but we just spent $44,000 the Clare Road study. And we haven't even discussed that really in depth. We had a quick vote last time about one roundabout. And our city engineer, again, and our city staff, again, put time and effort into a study that we spent $44,000. We have not done our due diligence on that. And even, again, this was brought up by Zach at the July 1st meeting when they made the presentation. And we asked a few questions, and they had this wonderful display up there. And not one of us, including me, got off my fanny and got up there and looked at that. Didn't even take a peek at it. And then the only reason I got fast-tracked was because of the application for the roundabout. So I got fast-tracked, and we had a brief discussion last time. And it was all our personal views, what we felt about roundabouts. That's what it turned into. We cannot make a decision about this stoplight without talking about that study. Because Zach brought it up back on July 1st. Yeah, he acknowledged that, yeah, the last recommendation is for a stoplight. But that was what, 5 or 6, 7 years old. And now it's a new study and a new recommendation by the experts that roundabouts are better. Now, this is not a discussion about roundabouts. We need to talk about the entire study. And we just haven't done that. You know, for us to go, previous councils have earmarked this $400 and some thousand for a stoplight, which they probably has been on the books for 2 or 3 years, I don't know. But now we need to be visionary. We need to look what's best 5, 10, 15 years down the road and rely on the experts that we have paid good money for to give us recommendations. And we just haven't done that. If you look back at that study, there was supposed to be time for citizen input, public discussion. There was supposed to be public outreach from us to the community, talking about this and getting input. There were supposed to be meetings with adjacent property owners. All this was outlined in the study that, again, we paid $44,000 for, and we haven't done anything with it. And that just troubles me that we haven't done that. And again, that's a disrespect for all the work that Zach has done and the input that city staff has given for us to sit here and say, oh, we took about a cursory look at that, didn't even look at his diagram and say, okay, we're done with that. We're going to put a stoplight in. We can't make a decision to fix a problem right now that it's a problem, and we all acknowledge that. We need to be more visionary. We really want to spend $400 and some $1,000s on a stoplight that our experts are saying may not be the best solution. We have to have that discussion. We have to have it with our citizens. It can't be how we personally feel about this issue. It has to be public input, and not just from the 50 people I talked to or the 50 people that came to Dan and complained about needing a stoplight there. This is a bigger issue than what we're giving it. And again, we need to utilize the experts that we have paid good money to use.
Adrian?
We know at that particular intersection that there's times where traffic could use some type of traffic control. I believe as for right now as well, we're looking at the growth directions and also talking to members of the community that I represent personally. And their concerns regarding the roundabouts. And I know I said I don't mind roundabouts personally. It would just, at the particular time, how many was going to be proposed throughout Leclerc, the information brought up to myself and members of communities and people even stopping at the residents to talk to me about it. There's concerns regarding our chief of police. Amhoff too. We do have a lot of, especially in October, a lot of farming, equipment going up and down the road as well. Make it hard to maneuver. As we look and we grow, I believe past council members and mayors, and staff has always been proactive as to what we need and what's best for the community. And I believe we're doing that here as well, mind you. But at this particular time, it was felt that the majority of that roundabouts, that's not the answer, but let's keep on the table for the discussion, down the road. So with us talking and discussing in the past regarding traffic control and what device will work there, maybe things will change, but as for right now, money is there, it's allocated, and for us to utilize that for traffic control, that's what's put into place. I believe that's what the majority of the individuals feel. As for right now, maybe wise to move forward with it, and if changes need to be made 5, 10 years down the line, as we have more opportunities to talk and look at experts and weigh in on this and look at patterns of growth, patterns of traffic, and not only the growth of Eldridge, but the growth around us. That's probably the time that we look at this more and see what's going to transpire right now. The traffic control light can do the job effectively as for right now. Probably what we need to do moving forward.
Again, you talk about getting expert opinion. We have expert opinion. You talk about the majority. I told you last time of the 50 people, 45 went around about us, but all 50 did not want to stop. So you may be able to talk to another 50 or 100 people. That's true. Again, that's why we need public discussion. One of the things that you need to, if you did all the research like we were given, most people don't like roundabouts when they're proposed. But once they're educated, and it's our job to educate them, once they're educated, 90% of them come back thinking, yeah, it's a good idea. The decisions made in the past was made on information that's not no longer relevant possibly. The new information has been provided by our experts. And we haven't even debated that. We are being closed-minded on this subject without doing our job as a council to educate the public, to get their input, other than the 50 people I talked to, or the 50 people Adrian talked to, or the 50 people Dan talked to, or whoever, how many it was. We need to educate the public on this and do better input, get better input. Again, we spent $44,000 on this. And for us to sit here and say, yeah, we don't need a roundabout, we're gonna move forward because the past councils thought this was a good thing. We need to be better, we need to do our homework, we need to do what we said we're gonna do, and we need to utilize the study that we spent $44,000 on.
Hey, Zach, that 44,000 was on the complete Leclerc Road corridor, correct? It wasn't just Fourth Avenue, right?
Correct, yeah.
So the complete road.
Correct.
Okay.
The number one priority was, that he said, was that intersection was the one that was the biggest issue that had to be addressed first. Correct?
Yeah, I mean, that one, as everyone knows, it's not.
It doesn't score the best
So
on
if
the
it needs some type of traffic control measure, is the recommendation.
Right. But the whole study was for the whole road, not
Correct,
just
from
one.
First to Scott Park Road.
Exactly.
Correct, yeah.
And what did that intersection score?
The fourth right now, it's currently at the peak hours, isn't it? For the south, for the left turn, the people trying to turn left, north, south.
Right.
So I struggle with this, and Scott, I agree with, one thing really stands out, we have to do business a different way. And I know I've had some conversations, whether that's town hall meetings or what, I just kind of feel like we've been rushed. And as far as roundabouts go, I'm not against them, but I wish more people would speak out, at least to me. You know, you got reached out by all the positive people. Everybody that reached out to me was negative. So even if I personally feel that I could take them or leave them, I'm going by what the people that came to me told me. Now, with that said, if we weren't feeling like we were rushed, which I think we all did feel that way, and it's nobody's fault, it's just the way it timed out. But we've got to find other ways to do what, you know, Scott, you talked about, reaching out to the businesses, try to bring people in, and that's going to be a big ask, but we need to get the citizens of Eldridge involved more, not just when they're angry or upset with something.
And not, I mean, our only education, and no offense to Mark, but our only education can't be the North Scott Press doing an article and expecting everybody to form their opinion on just one article. I mean, we need to do better. We need to be the ones that are providing the information. We need to be the ones that are doing the education. And I understand, Dan, that this is a need right now. I understand that. But I'm not certain we can spend $450,000 without doing our research and listening to experts. And if it's an issue, people will, if they get tired of sitting there at that intersection, I mean, they will find alternative ways to go down around to 6th or to the stoplight at 9th if they really get tired of waiting. I understand that, and I get that. But we are elected to be visionary. We are elected to sometimes make difficult decisions that sometimes maybe not be in total agreement with the general public, but that we have to make the decision, is it better down the road? Is it better to make that decision and get them on board and let them see where we're going? I mean, those are difficult decisions to make, and I get that. And I said from the beginning, I said I was not always in favor of roundabouts. I'm not this big roundabout guru. But I always have said that I believe in the experts. And I believe in Tony, who I've talked to, Brian, who I've talked to, Nevada, who I've talked to, Jeff, who I've talked to, and Zach, who we're paying good money to. Those are the people we have to put stock into what they say. And we have not done that. You know, we just need to be better. All I got to say.
Let's talk about Leclerc Road in general. We hired them to do a corridor study from First to Scott Park Road. My opinion, it's just my opinion is originally it was started off to do from about 9th Avenue to 16th Avenue, the concrete under 561. It's starting to show deterioration. It's about 40 years old and about met its useful life. The next part of that is going east from there. That road is so rutted that in the wintertime, ice builds up in the traveled portion. You know, and also I heard in some of the stuff as well, we can get to that in the future. Now, if you want to talk about what's really needed on Leclerc Road is moving people safely. I understand roundabouts in some opinions are the safest way. I could debate that either way. If roundabouts are the most efficient way, we just spent over $2 million on Leclerc Road and First Street. Why don't we put a roundabout in?
It wasn't recommended by our experts.
That's my point. You know, I think we need
But
to,
at that time, I'm guessing at that time, at that size of the intersection, I'm not an expert, but that's a much bigger intersection, huge intersection.
and we could have had 2 lanes probably with that area. But I just think Fourth Avenue is an issue. Is it an issue we have to fix today? I'm not quite sure on, but I think originally Adrian brought that up about 4 years ago. Fourth Avenue, because our long-term plan that was done by Iowa State shows Fourth Avenue running south all the way down and tying back into Pinehurst extended to the east. That's going to be a major intersection at some point if we follow that plan that was also done by our expert. So I would like to see the stoplight go up. If we want to have further discussions on roundabouts, you know, in other areas, so be it. But there is an immediate need to fix the traffic flows at Fourth Avenue and Leclerc Road. Stoplight's 450,000, roundabouts could be around $1 million.
And if we would have applied for the grant, it would have been saying, it would have been a wash.
Are there any other alternatives out there that would get us by without spending $450,000 plus the additional cost of installing it? That could get us by just a little bit longer?
I believe that 450,000 is installed.
Hold on.
Right.
I think it should be.
And Zach, correct me, there's no major modifications to Leclerc Road or the corner, so traffic flow is more or less just footings for the poles and some work on the north side, removing that plan or whatever, where we'll need to make a turn lane.
For the traffic signal?
Yeah,
That I'm not sure on, but yeah. So, we haven't got into any design of a traffic signal that I'm not sure about how much road work would have to get done.
Zach, in your design that the North Scott Press put in the paper for everyone to look at and try to understand, you had how many roundabouts on Leclerc?
So we presented that day, there were 4, but those, yeah, I think that's the problem that happened is it just got misconstrued. Those were just concepts to get conversation, discussion going. I don't think it was ever the expectation that we put 4 roundabouts on Lincoln Road. I mean, or on Leclerc Road, sorry. I think that's not realistic and,
So if it's not realistic, why did we put it on there?
to get the conversations to figure out where the best places to put them would be. I mean, roundabouts in all 4 locations would improve your traffic flow immensely in those locations. But I don't think it's realistic, like we're talking about, to try to convince the public that let's now put 4 roundabouts in one, you know, boom, 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 right along the road. You know, is to get that conversation going, try to get the public more comfortable with roundabouts, I think was really the hope and the goal. And then trying to determine, like we talked about, or like Scott mentioned, you know, the long-term plan for Leclerc Road. I mean, like Brian mentioned, I think from 9th Avenue East, probably pavement-wise is the worst area. So we know like that needs done. And then that would let us into the off-ramp from 61 that's performing poorly from a traffic standpoint. So we want another traffic light there, or is it another alternative we want to look at? So these are all just concepts in the process to try to get the conversation going, and there'd be more iterations. So I think that's kind of where things got sidetracked a little bit, unfortunately, is that it got taken as more of an edict probably, that we need to have all 4 roundabouts in those locations. I think that's where some of that, some of the issues, I guess, get.
And I think the last comment that I made to you last meeting was, I cannot get it through my brain how we can have 2 stoplights and a roundabout sandwiched between the 2 of them, how it's gonna help traffic flow in Eldridge. Can you help me understand that and help the public understand that? Because that was more or less the questions that everyone would ask me, is, you have traffic coming from both sides. How is that gonna help us turn left or get out? Because we can't get out now.
Well, that's kind of the nice thing about roundabouts is you're not really stopping, you're yielding. The car's there, obviously, in the circle, you are stopping. But whereas a stoplight, you have dedicated stop phases, red phases and green phases. So that's kind of the benefit of the roundabout. You're more or less continually flowing. There will be some times when you're backed up a few cars, but your backup for a roundabout is usually much smaller than a red phase of a signal. So I guess that whether you do a signal or a roundabout at 4th, it will improve your traffic flow at 4th. So it will make it better than it is now. That was our recommendation at 4th, the roundabout, but it's not, the intersection will perform much better with a signal as well. So either 2, it's not saying that it won't help the intersection if you do a signal. It's just the roundabout, the traffic flows a little better than signal.
And then my last comment I have is on Sunday when I was going up and down First Street, I was watching people coming from the bike path and First and Leclerc. And it's not an easy get through that intersection, even when the light turns green for them. The intersection is so humongous that people lose that the pedestrians have the right to cross. And when the light turns green and where they have the turn signal to go right, they're not yielding at all. So that really had me very nervous too about what traffic and we had a ton of people walking down Leclerc that day on Sunday. And I was trying to envision in my mind with a roundabout, how the public pushing the strollers, jogging, bikes, you had everything Sunday going up and down that street and how that would work with a roundabout. Can you explain that to me?
Again, that's kind of the benefit of the roundabout. They have those islands in the middle, so you're only crossing 1 lane of traffic at a time. So like you said, the intersection is very large, so you're crossing probably 5 with the turn lane, 5 lanes or more. So the roundabout, you're crossing 1 lane to a center island, and then you're crossing the next lane to cross the road. So less gaps of traffic, and then you're only crossing traffic coming from one direction, the roundabout as well, versus people coming or turning from different areas. So that's the other kind of benefit of them. So the islands are sized big enough so you can stop your stroll in the middle while you wait for the other direction.
Thank you.
One thing with me, and I like that you admit too that a stoplight will benefit.
It will. I don't want to make it sound like it.
My concern is with the school. When school gets out, it's car after car after car. And once they get introduced into Leclerc Road, I think you're gonna have problems getting out on 4th Avenue about just because of the volume for those periods. School starts and school ends. Now, summertime it'd be fine, but I'm still 4th Avenue, in my opinion, is still a stoplight there. You wanna look at roundabout someplace else? We said Lincoln Road and South First would be a place for a roundabout because that would be a natural transition on the reduction in the speed limit. Because that's another benefit of roundabouts, just slow traffic down. Leclerc Road is 25 to 35 anyways. But coming up from the south, when you're 45, right there at Lincoln Road, it transitions to 35, then 25 up, like Pinehurst. To me, the roundabout makes a lot of sense right there, more so than on Leclerc Road.
Well, the item in front of you guys was for discussion and consideration, so is there any motion for the stoplight?
I'd still like to make a motion that we go ahead with the stoplight. And I feel, not that I'm not a visionary or I'm not listening to everybody, but I feel that we're in an F right now. We talk about safety all the time with Lincoln Road and whatnot. With having an F right now, I think we need to fix it right. So I make that motion that we still go forward to traffic light on Fourth and Lemon.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Motion by Collins, second by Dockery to approve the, go ahead with the traffic light at Fourth and Leclerc. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays?
Nay.
Thank you, gentlemen. 7A. Look for a motion to open public hearing for the consideration to approve plan specifications, form contract, and estimated total cost for the 2024 Elder Street Improvement Project bid.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Dockery, second by Blackwell to open public hearing. Roll call.
Blackwell.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Collins. Dockery.
Aye.
Gilsey.
Aye. Open 7:53. Anybody have any questions? Okay,
There ain't no questions. I'll make a motion to close.
Second.
motion by Blackwell, second by Campbell to close public hearing. Roll call.
Gilsey.
Aye.
Dockery.
Aye.
Collins.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Blackwell.
Aye.
7:55. 7C, consideration of resolution 2024-23, awarding a contract for the 24th Street Improvement Project to Eastern Iowa Excavating and Concrete in the amount of $369,959. Can I call on you for this? Where's that? Where's that?
Want to go ahead, Zach?
Sure. So we received 10 bids for this project. And Eastern Iowa Excavating came in below our engineering estimate, so very good bid for the project and new bids as well.
We've worked with them in the past.
Yeah, they did one of our street projects last year, and I think Tony, Brian, and everyone was very happy.
They're the ones that did like the intersections on North First Street, right? Where Price and David,
Yep,
Where they-
did that. Yep,
because those took extensive amount of reworking.
yep. They did more of the pavement replacement and some of their sewer work and whatnot in there that they did, so. I think they're very.
Well, they did a good job.
In my experience with them is they're pretty efficient. They won't drag it out for months and months. They'll get after it, get it done. Another contract years ago that on North Seventh and Price that prolonged the project because of our penalty was lower than other jobs. So no, they're good outfit. They've worked in Elbridge before. I would make a motion to approve the contract with them.
Second.
Motion by Dockery, second by Yossi to approve the contract.
Yeah.
To Campbell Excavating and Concrete in amount of $369,959. Roll call.
Campbell.
Aye.
Blackwell.
Aye.
Collins.
Aye.
Dockery.
Aye.
Gilsey.
Abstain due to conflict of interest. They just called me last week. They should work for them. So.
Oh.
Appreciate that, right?
But it was nice that you didn't mention the fire contract. You could have.
I could.
I mean, I feel like it, but thank you.
And it doesn't do any good. It just
7D, discussion consideration to approve purchase of a new truck pickup budgeted for the fiscal year 25 for the street department. Now, this already been budgeted, right?
Correct.
what you have before you is three different ones. Keith went over all the specifications, and he's thought any one of these three would be, you see there's a price difference. The Ford is the most economical, followed by the Chevrolet and the GMC. One comment that was made at the last agenda meeting last week by Tony was they're not sure how they felt the aluminum body would hold up to occasionally year when you have not the first snow, or maybe not the second, but the third or fourth, the piles get taller. And if some snow rolls over off the pile when they bump into it, the aluminum body is how they would hold up, because aluminum is softer. I reached out and I talked to Darren Weber that owns Eldridge Body Shop and Bob Taylor that owns Walcott Collision. And they both say that repairing those aluminum bodies is a pain, and aluminum is softer. A lot of times they have to replace panels instead of being able to repair them, because aluminum is harder to work with. So that Tony just asked that be taken into consideration. They have no preference either way, but he's the one that mentioned the snow plow. I talked to Brian plows snow. He hasn't had that problem with his trucks. So I just wanted to put that in front of you guys.
We're gonna put a small salt spreader in the back of that.
Yeah, part of what we budgeted is also to put a plow in the front.
From our experience where I work, we haven't had a problem with the aluminum bodies. I would make the recommendation we go with the Lindquist Ford bid, because there is no known problems with it, and with the lowest bid.
I would second that. Just one question. Is this something that we've kind of been addressed by the policy that we kind of started talking about last time? I mean, since we already budgeted this, the cost is under budget. I mean, do we need to approve this, or can our department head just go ahead and spend the money? That's the question.
Currently, we would need to bring it forward for approval because we don't have that policy in place. But as we talk through that policy more and figure out, define what those thresholds are for approval and whether or not something's been detailed in a budget enough to be able to purchase it without bringing it back for another approval. That's what the purpose of that policy would be for, is to define those different limits that what authorizations department heads have prior to bringing something to.
So we have a motion by Dockery, second by Campbell. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Nays? Ayes have it. 8. Staff and board member reports. Nevada?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few things. For the August 26th, if everybody would be available for a committee of the whole meeting at 5:30 to talk about the clerk's office succession plan. If you could let me know if you would be available for that. That did come up this week, and having a separate meeting to discuss that to give adequate time. Monday, the 26th is what we would be looking at for that. There are plans to dedicate the committee of the whole on September 3rd to be a full discussion about the CIP draft and the projects that are on that, and to begin that discussion on how those projects should be scheduled, what other projects might be identified. The Transportation Technical Committee met with Bi-State this past week, and the reclassification of roads, other jurisdictions are asking the DOT for the same thing as they grow and traffic patterns change. Right now, the DOT's position on that in our region is looking at what mileage can be removed from those classified segments of road to be able to make room for these newly approved segments. So it may be a little bit more difficult than it had been in the past, just because there are more roads coming forward for that reclassification to qualify for funds. But the conversation has started with those agencies, so continue to push forward for that for Lincoln Road. Auditors were on site on August 8th. They mentioned that they were very pleased with the progress that's been made on the processes that we put in place internally. And while we'll still see some of those findings on this current audit, because they were not implemented fully, in this past fiscal year. We will start to see quite a few of those, fall off of those audit findings in the next fiscal year. So they were very happy with the direction we were going. And finally, S&P Global reached out to us proactively after noticing some positive financial trends for the city and are reviewing our rating for a possible increased rating for our. So, all good news.
Good.
Thanks, Bev. Jeff, I'm calling you.
Thank you, Mayor. Just got a couple of things. The solar ordinance has went through the staff review and has been sent to the Planning and Zoning Commission. We're trying to schedule a review of that next month. I sent them a lot of information as possible. They might want a little longer to take a look at it. This was one that they are gonna have to give a little more input to, than other ordinances in the past. Staff made as many recommendations as they can, but there's still a lot of decisions that have to be made with that one to move forward with it. And staff wasn't comfortable, making some of those decisions on their own. So there's kind of a lot of more fill in the blank options, or if we do this, what do we do with that type of thing with that ordinance? So it might take a little longer to get back to you, but should be happening soon, before the end of the year, probably for sure. And our social media archiving that we've been running since last March has captured, indexed, and applied digital signatures to 20,188 records so far. Of those records, 91 have been deleted from social media. So that means without the archive, they would be unretrievable. So if we were to have to go to court over something, this is part of the process that's going to protect us from that. And so, in my opinion, that was money well spent, and it satisfies a requirement, by law, that we can now say that all of that stuff is recorded, everything from YouTube, and Instagram, and Facebook. So that was.
Thank you, Jeff. Martha, can I call you for an update? Nothing tonight? All right. Tony, you're not the chief, but I seen the photograph of the new cadet graduated, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Haley graduated, was it last Friday? She's had her first day today. She's with Garrett, the school resource officer, all this week till he starts at the school next week. And I think she'll go with Sergeant Gale after that. And I think myself after him, and maybe one other field training officer over the next 3 to 4 months. So she's brand new, so we're gonna have to start from scratch with her, which is always a challenge, but it's welcomed. So yeah, she passed the academy with no issues, and we look forward to her starting.
Okay, thank you.
But quick question, Frank.
Yeah.
I see the new speed limit signs are up on Lincoln Road. Have you guys done much or had much activity out there?
No, not since the new signs have gone up. We were hitting it pretty hard with speed before they went up. So now it'll be interesting to see what we come across now that the new signs are up. Easier. That'll be coming.
With all that being said, I make a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Second by Yossi, to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Nay. Sure. Thank you, everybody.